And now out on the track, the leaders for the moment are the two men who began the day as the focus of this story. Number 28, Cale Yarborough in the lead, trying to repeat the feat of earlier this year when he won the pole and then won the race for the Daytona 500, trying to do it again in the Firecracker 400. Right behind him in car number 43, Richard Petty, trying today to win his 200th Grand National Stock Car race. They are the leaders at this moment. We're a little more than halfway through the Firecracker 400, and we'll be back at Daytona with less than 8 laps to go in the Firecracker 400. Richard Petty has taken the lead in car 43. Cale Yarborough in 28 chasing him. At this moment, a chess game, Sam Posey, between two of the real grand masters of the sport.
And a chess game in which Richard Petty, despite the fact he's leading the race, he is in check basically at this point, because Cale Yarborough, positioned where he is, can pass Richard Petty at will. Richard probably is in agony at this point, despite the fact that he's out front. He has absolutely nothing he can do to defend himself. Cale can sweep by him whenever he wants.
Remember that Cale Yarborough qualified for this race nearly 3 miles per hour faster than Richard Petty, and based on what we've seen throughout the course of the race, there can be very little question that Yarborough's car is capable of accelerating by Petty at almost any moment, particularly when he's in this position, drafting off of Petty's rear bumper, simply waiting for the moment to make the move. Petty going for the 200th victory of his illustrious career. Cale Yarborough trying to win for the second time this year on the Daytona International Speedway. In February, he won the Daytona 500. So two of the greatest names in the history of the sport are prepared to duel over the last 5 laps, and we'll be back with that in a moment. Back at the Daytona International Speedway, and we are building toward a dramatic finish. President Ronald Reagan looking on alongside Bill France Jr., whose family built this racetrack. And out on the course, it is Richard Petty in car 43, Cale Yarborough in car 28. Now as they try to position themselves for the last lap burst to the finish, when they cross the yellow line on the front straight here, there will be 3 laps remaining in the race. They're now on lap 150, and a car is spun out. Doug Heveron's car is spun out in turn 1. So now the yellow caution flag may be coming out. Indeed, as I look just below us, the yellow caution flag is going to come out. This will, in all intents and purposes, perhaps be the last lap of the race. The rule requires them to solidify under the caution at the beginning of the next lap.
It's an incredible situation now. Are they going to race to the line? This is an interesting rule situation, Jim. You are allowed to race to the line once the yellow has come out. Cale Yarborough did that. Richard Petty is counterattacking. This may be the race that we're looking at here as they sweep up into traffic. A highly dangerous situation.
Coming down the front straight. Here they are, Sam. They will come across the yellow line just about together, but Petty had the lead. By the nose of the car, Richard Petty was just in front of Cale Yarborough as they came across the line. Now they have completed 158 laps. There are 2 laps to go, and in all likelihood, we would have to guess this race is going to end under a caution and Petty's going to win.
Incredible, yes, and as you know, you are allowed, I just restate this, to race to the finish line under the yellow flag, and that's what we saw. We saw Yarborough realized the predicament that he was in, that he had to get by. Here's the Petty pit crew. You see what they think has happened.
Well, they believe, and probably safely so, that the race has ended, that there will be no more racing under a green flag, that as the caution stays out for these last 2 laps, Richard Petty will simply hold on to first place. Doug Heveron's car, number 01, is nestled just on the infield inside of turn 1. It's going to take some time to move it, and in all likelihood, there will be no more racing. So Petty will come by now with 1 lap to go, and behind Petty, Cale Yarborough is turning off and heading toward pit row. Hard to imagine what is going through Cale's mind. He can sacrifice second place if he makes a pit stop here, but Petty has the lead with 1 lap to go.
Cale coming into the pits. Petty still out on the racetrack, piling up an enormous advantage now. What could be the reason? No, Cale goes right through the pits and back out. I'm trying to think if there's any remaining element of strategy that could have dictated that move. I can't think of it.
Hard to imagine exactly what Cale Yarborough was thinking at that point, unless he just simply decided in disgust that the race was over.
But he would have given away other positions. We have Terry Labonte running back there. So I don't know.
The scoreboard has been confused for the moment. Now it shows lap 159 completed. So Richard Petty may in fact get a checkered flag as he comes down the front straight the next time. We're following Petty now on your screen as his car at the front of the pack goes through turn 3. They have slowed down for the yellow caution flag. Now, just to take a look back at exactly what happened. The caution flag came out. As they went down the backstretch, Cale Yarborough moved to the front of the pack ahead of Richard Petty. They were racing to the yellow line. The caution actually begins on the next completed lap after the crash when the caution flag comes out. So Richard Petty, by passing Cale Yarborough coming out of turn 4 on the front straight and beating him to the yellow line by the margin of the nose of his car, won the race. As they come down this time, you are going to see a checkered flag for car number 43. Richard Petty has won the 200th race of his incomparable Grand National stock car racing career, and an unexpected thrill for the crowd here, which in effect saw the race end 3 laps early.
And a sensational rendezvous with destiny for Richard Petty, who has political aspirations. He will now, not for the first time, be meeting President Reagan as part of the victory celebration. Richard Petty, on this day, has fulfilled a great dream.
Let's take another look back now at what happened on what was in effect the deciding lap. Remember, the rule states that once the yellow flag comes out, the racers must solidify in their order by the beginning of the next lap. So as they came down the backstretch here, Sam Posey, with 2.5 laps to go, this was in effect a race to the flag for the championship.
And Cale Yarborough made the classic move. He pulled out of Richard's slipstream and passed him decisively as they went into turn 3. At this point, Richard must have had his heart in his mouth, but he did the one thing that was left open to him. He counterattacked and started down low. And as they came out, remember, this is the last turn before the finish line. As they came out of the turn with a lot of traffic ahead of them, it was really a drag race to the finish. They touched briefly there as they came toward the finish, and really it was just a question of horsepower between the two and fate. And fate seemed to smile on Richard Petty this time.
Now watch the finish as they came down the front straight. There was the flag. There's the yellow line. Petty won by the nose of his car. They ran 2 more laps under the caution flag, but the race had been decided right there at that moment on your screen.
Richard Petty emerged victorious for his 200th Grand National Stock Car Racing victory.